Now that the Great Sea is once again under the dominion of our Wave Riders, Ner'zhul has come upon a plan to increase the powers of the Dark Portal. While he was the tutor of Gul'dan, the shaman bound their souls so that he could keep watch over his disciple. Even though Gul'dan knew that this link would serve to inform Ner'zhul of the warlock studies with the spirits that dwelt in the twisting nether, he was too arrogant to care. Ner'zhul has ordered you to lead a small band to the tomb in order to find the jeweled scepter of SARGERAS. The remains of the Storm Reaver and Twilight's Hammer encampments surround the entrance to the tomb, and the howling of their tortured souls fill the air. Although the inhabitants of this place died long ago, their bodies have been torn from earthen graves by the vile magics of the demons and made to stalk this region for all eternity.
Do you want ducks?
Okay,
Yes.
of course. Would you want me to?
Very well. Very well.
We're being
Yes.
attacked!
Do you want ducks?
Very well. Make it quick.
Very well.
Now that
Make it, Yukani. Alright.
Do you want
You the
ducks?
boss.
Yes, master. Do you want
You the
ducks?
boss. You the boss. Okay.
Yes,
We're being
very
Would you want me to?
Of course.
Burst? Taboo. Loptar. Alright. Alright, the boss. We're being attacked! Zogzog. Loptar. Taboo. Loptar. Loptar. Swobu.
Do you want
Alright,
ducks?
the boss. Zogdog. Okay. You the boss. Okay. Okay. Alright, the boss. Alright. You the boss. Okay. You the boss. Alright. Okay. Okay. You the boss. Alright. You the boss. Okay. We're being attacked! Alright. You the boss. Alright. Alright. The boss. Alright. Alright. Okay. 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 It's over. Make it quick. Done building ship. Yes, Captain. Loptar. Yes, Captain. Ahoy. I would love to. You're the captain. I would love to. I would love to. You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy. We're being attacked. Ahoy. I would love to. I would love to. We're being attacked.
Yes, alright. Yes, master. Yes, master. Yes, master.
Zug. Yes, Captain. Ahoy. I would love to. You're the captain. Ahoy. Ahoy. I would love to. Ahoy. I would love to. Ahoy. Ahoy. You're the captain. I would love to. Zug. Loptar. Swobu. Loptar. Tabu. Swobu. Loptar. Zug. Swobu. Zug. Loptar. Zug. Swobu. Loptar. Tabu. Swobu. Loptar. Tabu.
Do you want
You the
ducks?
boss. You the boss. You the boss.
Work complete.
Alright. Would you want me to? Would you want me to? Okay. Yukani?
Do you want ducks?
Yes. Alright.
Joantax? Okay, okay.
Arg? I would love to. Ahoy! 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 Ahoy!
Zogdog, Swobu.
Arg? Ahoy! I would love to. You're the captain. You're the captain.
Yes. Of course, very of course.
Work complete.
Make it quick.
Yes, captain?
Joantax?
Arg? I would love to. Ahoy! You're the captain.
You got it right.
Aye, matey? I would love to. The captain. I would love to.
Joantax? Alright, okay. Alright. Yes, of course, master. Of course, master. Very well. Of course, very well. Very well. Of course, You got me? Master. Alright. You got me? Joantax? You the boss. Make it quick.
Aye, matey? You're the captain.
You got me? You the boss.
Yes, captain. I would love to. Aye, matey? You're the captain. Ahoy!
Joantax? You the boss. Make it quick, master. Of course, very well.
Work complete.
Of course, master. Very well. Of course, master. Very well. Of course, master. Of course. Very well. Very well. Of course, master. Yes. Very well. Of course, Make it quick. Very well.
Work complete.
Very well. Of course. Who'd you want to kill? Alright. 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 Okay. Make it of course, master. Very well. Who'd you want to kill? Who'd you want to kill? You the boss. Okay. 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 Alright. 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 Okay.
Loktar. Loktar. Zog.
You got me? Okay.
Arg? You're the captain. Ahoy! 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 You're the captain. You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy! You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy! You're the captain. You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. Ahoy! I would love to. You're the captain.
Zug.
Who'd you want to kill? You the boss. Yes. Alright.
Zug.
Aye, matey? Ahoy! I would love to. I would love to. You're the captain. You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy! I would love to. Ahoy! I would love to. You're the captain. I would love to. You're the captain.
Ahoy!
Zug Zug.
Yes? Okay.
Yes, Captain. I would love to. Ahoy! You're the captain. Loktar. Zug Zug.
Alright.
Loktar. Yes, Captain. I would love to. Ahoy! I would love to. You're the captain. You're the captain. You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. You're the captain. Ahoy! You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy! Ahoy! Zug Zug. Zug Zug. Zug Zug.
Alright. Okay.
Zug Zug.
Okay. Alright.
Okay. You're the captain. I would love to. You're the captain. Ahoy! I would love to. I would love to.
Master. Alright.
Yes, Captain. I would love to. You're the captain. I would love to.
Yes. Of course.
Yes, Captain. I would love to. You're the captain. You're the captain. I would love to. Ahoy! You're the captain. You're the captain. I would love to. I would love to. You're the captain.
Make it quick. Of course.
Okay.
Make it quick. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah, very well. Make it quick. Of course, Master. Yes, of course, Master. Make it quick. Of course, Master. Very of course, Master. Yes, very well. Very well. Of course, Master.
Chukami? All right.
Make it quick. Very well. Very well. Of course. Very well. Very course. Of course. Of course. Very well. Of course. Very well. Of course. Very well. Of course. Very well. Very well. Of course. Very course. Very well. Very well. Of course. Of course. Very well. Of course, Master. Very well. Of course. Very well. Very well. Very well. Of course. Very well. Very well. Make it quick.
Zogtas Mamu.
Okay.
Aye, matey. You're the captain. Aye, matey.
Make it quick. Very well. Very well. Of course, Master. Of course, Master. Of very well.
All right. Okay. All right.
Make it quick.
You got all right.
Making of course, master. Of course, master. Very well. Of course, master. Very well. Alright, boss. Okay. Alright. You got me? Alright. Okay. Yes, very well. Of course. Very course. You got me? Alright. Would you want me to? Okay. You the boss. Okay.
Huh? Zug.
Making contacts. You the boss. Okay. Alright. Making of course, master.
Work complete.
You got me? You the boss.
We're being attacked!
You got me? Alright. Okay. Contacts? You the boss. Okay. Alright. You the boss. Alright. You the boss. Alright.
Huh? Work complete.
Yes. Of course, very well. Of course, master.
Zug, swobu. Lord Zug, swobu. Dabu. Glokta. Swobu. Dabu. Dabu. Being attacked!
Contacts? You the boss.
Glokta. Dabu. Zogtar. Swobu. Glokta. Swobu. Zug, swobu.
Would you want me to?
Work complete.
Contacts? You the boss.
Dabu. Swobu. Gloktar.
Would you want me to? Alright. Okay. Alright.
We're being attacked!
Contacts? You the boss. Alright. You the boss. Okay. Alright. You the boss. You the boss. You the boss. You the the boss. Alright, boss. Alright, boss. The boss. Okay. What you want to kill? You got me? Yes, of course, master. Very well. Very well.
Work
of
complete.
Course, master. Of course, of course, master. Of course, master. Very well. Jontax? Alright, boss. Make it quick.
We're being attacked!
Very well. Of course, master. Of course, master. Yes, of course. Very well. Of course. Very well. Very well. Very well. Make it quick, master. Yes, very well. Make it very well. Of course. Who do you want to kill? Make it course, master. Make it very well, master. Of course, master. Yes. Make it quick. Very well. You got me? Alright. Alright. Huh? What? Yes, master. Yes, very well. Very course, master. Yes, of course, master. Very well. Of course, master. Very well.
We're being attacked!
Okay. Make it very well. Of course, master. You got me? Okay. You the boss. Okay. Okay. You the boss. Alright. You the boss. Jontax? Okay.
We're being attacked!
You the boss. You got me? Right, you the boss. You got me? You the boss. Make it very well. You got me? Who'd you want to kill? Alright, you the boss. Okay. Okay. Okay, alright. Alright.
Being attacked!
Okay.
You the boss.
Yes, of course, Master.
Okay,
alright. Yes, Master. Alright. Okay.
You the boss. We're being attacked!
Making calls very well, Master. Of course, Master. Very well. Of course, Master. Of course, Master. Of course, Master. Of course, Master. Very of course.
We're being attacked!
Of course,